All set to go for the afternoon practice session here at the San Marino Grand Prix for MotoGP. And the session is about to get underway in around about 10 seconds time. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Marco Simoncelli World Circuit in Mazzano, Rimini. A crucial hour ahead of us then. This will decide the running order for Q1 and Q2. The green light is underway. And now there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of action to consider. Who is going to be fastest? This is Jorge Martin, top this morning in the first of the running orders in terms of not the Ducati rider, who is a wild card entry. That went to Michele Pirro. But Martin wants to get his weekend back on track here, wants to get everything back up and running. And the session is underway, and the heading out onto the track, many on hard front, medium rear tyres, few on soft rears coming into fruition as well, but there's so much energy now waiting just to see what's going to happen. Green light is on, we are underway. Fingers crossed it's not going to take too much longer for the systems to boot up and get ready. Let's check in with our commentary team over at TNT Sports.
And you were testing here, was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Who else was on track with you?
Danny, so Pedrosa was there, and he's been there, well, the last 2 or 3 times I was here, he's been there, so he's been having a lot of track time.
Have you had the stopwatch on him?
Yeah, we did, like, you know, always keep an eye on what riders are doing, so he's got great race pace. So does Pirro, a little bit slower than Danny, but not far off. And the Aprilia boys were there as well. So
are you able to tell us what you were riding and what your lap times were, Silva?
No, not allowed to comment. Sorry,
okay,
no comment.
Who else were riding? Have you seen anybody else out there?
Yeah.
And it's like surprises of, you know, when you're out there riding with them. I'm just quite intrigued to see what you.
One of the so I just got a few actually. There was
we got an hour.
Yeah, well, let's go. We Andrea Iannone was there once, and I was actually on track with him. He was riding like a stock Aprilia bike.
Because he's still got
with Pirelli tyres. He was going quick. He was going really well. You could tell that he hasn't lost.
Lost any of it.
No. I think my opinion on this World Superbike move is that if they are able to give him a good bike, which they should do, because the private Ducati is a decent package. I think Andrea is gonna. He's just a very talented rider, Andrea is, and obviously I spent quite a bit of time working with him at Suzuki, and he's just really quick on the bike. So I think the Superbike will suit him as well. So I'm really looking forward to see what he can do. And then in Misano, yes, very often you see the VR46 boys. So they use like sort of standard-ish Ducatis, Panigale V4s, and they are very fast with that, really, really quick.
Well, they were this morning, weren't they?
Yeah, this morning, fastest on the Mini VR46s, Marco Bezzecchi and Luca Marini, all finding their correct delta time straight away. So we are going to be seeing more power, more action as well across the next 20-odd minutes of this run. And fingers crossed it's going to remain that well, because we don't want to see a lukewarm session where nothing else happens and we're really struggling to have the running order defined going into qualifying tomorrow. This is practice. This really does matter now. It's a better format to a weekend that we've had. Everybody knows the deal, everybody knows the situation. You have to be faster, you have to get in, you have to make sure this, that and that. So it's all good. First lap time's coming on the board then, and it is Fabio Quartararo, 1:34.185. Bezzecchi, Binder, Bradl, Morbidelli, Pedrosa, Martin, Polaspargro. Now look at that. Lap time cancelled for the 36 due to exceeding the track limit has now come through. So more penalties are coming through. So now we can see it all, thankfully, on that little monitor. We've adjusted it a lot over the last times as well. We can't still get the live timing up on one side of the monitor, though, for MotoGP, so that's taking some time. But 10 riders automatically progress at the end of this session through to Q2. Lap time cancelled for the 30 for exceeding the track limit as well. So going down to the order, that's Takiki Nakagami. That's dropped him down the order. He was running Nakagami in, I think, 11th position. Then he's had his lap time deleted. Takashi as well has had his lap time deleted, but he's not running that well in this session as well, coming in on the LCR Honda in place of Alex Rins, who still hasn't returned to MotoGP after his injury. So there's still some things to be decided. As we take a look back at Bagnaia, who was 20th fastest this morning. Oh, having a little twitch there as well. That time cancelled, didn't see who that was for, sorry. Bagnaia having a little bit of action. Now, he was 20th fastest this morning. Didn't like the setup of the bike, what's new. Should be able to get back into it. But don't forget, he's coming back from a horrendous injury where he had you saw last time at the Catalan Grand Prix, a violent high side. Slammed back down onto the track. Got run over on his right leg by Brad Binder, and somehow there's no problem. He's okay. He's on crutches. He's a little bit winded. He's still taking his time. But remarkably, he is getting on with it and getting on there exactly where he needs to be. So, honestly, hands down remarkable from him on that basis. And hopefully we will see him having that again soon and back up there. If he has to go through Q1, that would be a miracle. He should get into Q2 sooner or later. Vinales goes second. Binder, though, top of the session. Lap time cancel for the 44 for track limits, as well as Paul Espargaro, who drops down. I'm not sure why that's coming up so often on the timing monitors. They're coming through now with faster times. Take a look at the sectors, and everybody is setting red deltas. So first set's looking good. Michele Pira goes up the lap time cancel for Jorge Martin for exceeding the track limit as well. So just taking the time, taking slowly out there as well. And the 41 lap time cancelled for exceeding the track limit as well. Coming up there, that's Aleix Espargaro, who's down in 8th position. Check in there with Tintin.
No, I'm not. Why? Just superstition. Just don't fancy it. Didn't work for me.
Look at that, Danny's doing these lap times, so he's about to cross the line. When he set off, he's done 23 laps on the front and 23 laps on the rear.
What's his job this weekend?
To win.
No, but it's to provide also information for the other two, isn't it?
With that new carbon frame, looks like that's working straight away.
Brad Binder's going to have to bail out of that one. Jorge Martin's gone to the top of the time sheet, which was 1:31.9 from Pirro earlier on today.
So what do we think of the state of MotoGP if Danny Pedrosa comes back and potentially wins a race? What does that say about what's going on right now?
Well, we can already
does it say anything?
I don't know if he does.
It says
personally
that if he does that, or even if he's close to the podium, which he will be, I think the only thing it says is how much of a talented rider Danny is and how good he still is.
I totally agree.
54 Grand Prix wins to his...
Just the 54.
1 in 6 Grand Prix that he took part in, he won.
Oh, that's a beautiful start.
Right?
I like that one.
So
think about that.
Every 6 races he got a win, effectively.
Think about how many teammates Marquez has had that were competitive and beating him at times.
Yeah, so mate, if we see a race win, as the timing screen struggles to keep up with how many things are changing, if we see a race win from Danny Pedrosa, I will not be surprised at all. Pedrosa is such a great rider. He's a world champion, and he's right up there as well with one of the greatest. He's one of the original aliens, isn't he? And he's coming back in. Pedrosa goes third on a 1:32.451. So times are coming through. Marco Bezzecchi goes up there. Jorge Martin on an absolute flyer jumps up into second position as well. So this is what we're talking about. As Marc Marquez has had his lap time cancelled, this is what we're talking about. There are still deltas to be found. There are still times out there. Nakagami goes into 7th. And I'm amazed at how we are 9 minutes into this session and everybody's gone straight out there. Majority, as you can see, hard front, medium rear. Danny Pedrosa, along with Fabio Di Giannantonio, Johan Zarco have gone for a medium front, medium rear. In terms of a soft rear tyre, Jorge Martin's got one, Brad Binder, Franco Morbidelli and Paul Espargaro and Tamuri Takashai as well in... not classified down in 24th position, but he's got a medium front on as well. And everyone else got a hard front tyre on. You can see that for yourself on the timing tower we've opened up here in the commentary box. As Jorge Martin takes second position. So again, finding more time. This is Bagnaia. He's third fastest at the moment on a 1:32.347 correction. He's now fourth fastest as Michele Pirro goes third. Lap time cancel for Bagnaia due to track limits, but his last lap time was a 1:35.077. That's okay. Michele Pirro does a 1:32.284. Bagnaia's already gone fourth fastest, 1:32.346. So already he's quicker than what he was this morning when he was down in 20th place. So he's still managed to find the correct time. He's still managed to find the good deltas. Quartararo goes sixth, 1:32.520. Marco Bezzecchi is our new benchmarker here at San Marino. It's a 1:31.785, 9 thousandths of a second faster than Maverick Vinales. A sweet time on the board for him. Marc Marquez takes the escape road at 1 and 2 as well to get out of the way. Alex Marquez P6. A lot of rumours going around Marc Marquez this weekend. We touched on it this morning. Marc never came to us informing that he won't be staying, says Alberto Puig as well. But apparently, we don't know what's happening yet with Marc Marquez, but we don't think he's staying.
In the corner exit, and that's how that makes the lap time. So it's actually became, with the current where those bikes need to be ridden, his style, his natural style suits the requirements of MotoGP currently.
Marc Marquez forced to pick it up in turn one, finding Stefan Bradl in front of him. It could be interesting. We still haven't had a proper shot of that Bradl bike just yet, but there's all sorts of new bits and bobs on it. Marc actually this morning was down in 21st, but only 0.7 off. 21st rider in 7/10. That's ridiculous.
That is unreal.
Best Honda was Taka Nakagami, who was 19.6 off.
It used to be like second if you're 7/10 off.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's incredible. Incredibly tight. It's not a long lap around here, but still that is very, very tight.
That's why when we've just seen what we've seen from Pedro Acosta, half a second quicker than the field in Moto2, it shows just how good that sequence of laps that Acosta did.
Yeah, the only thing is Pedro is doing the lap time in corner entry. I mean, you see how fast he can enter the corners. He's got very special talent doing that. I'm not sure how this is going to fit with the MotoGP, with the transition. He's going to have to adapt his style that you can't ride like that in MotoGP. But no, that he's super talented, but I think it's going to take a little bit to adjust.
I also wonder in terms of front tyre, because that is one thing this year that has been an issue a couple of races. Celestino Vietti said that was part of the reason he won in Austria. He had a little bit more front tyre towards the end, and we saw with Barcelona a couple of things here and there.
So quite interesting, I think, is looking at Takahashi. So he's Honda's test rider, isn't he?
Well, not really. No, the official one is Nagashima.
Oh, that's
Nagashima
right.
and Bradl. That's why we're all surprised not to see Nagashima. But
Nagashima apparently had to go back to Japan because there was a test plan in Japan for him, and he had to go back to do that. So that's why they brought in Takahashi, which is a talented rider. I mean, he won the 8-hour Suzuka this year.
But will this be his first ride on a MotoGP bike then?
He has done it before, Takahashi.
He's not got much experience there.
Yeah, but it was once in Motegi in 2015.
But it's what I find quite interesting. This is where I'm going with my point. Is just if you sat at home and you're watching, just for you to understand how difficult it is at this level to ride a MotoGP bike. So you've got Takahashi who won the Suzuka 8-hour this year. If you stood at the Suzuka 8-hour and you watched Takahashi go through the S's after the first corner, you watch the commitment, the talent, the skill it takes, you'd go, wow, no one could ride a bike faster than that. I mean, the guy can ride a motorcycle. He's currently, obviously he's in last place. He's 6.2 seconds off the pace, which is an eternity. Now, where I'm going with this is, I've got a good mate of mine at home, Dickie. He's a really good mate of mine. You've heard me talk about him loads. He once said to me, and it made me laugh. He said, I have a question for you, Neil. I went, yeah, go on. He went, how come Carol Abraham gets a ride every year in MotoGP? I went, well, his dad actually owns the Brno circuit, but I said, he's fast as Carol Abraham. He went, really? I went, yeah, he's really fast. He went, no. I went, well, I said, well, use this as an example. At the weekend, it was about 1.1 seconds slower than Marc Marquez who won. And I'll be honest, his bike isn't quite as good, or the team that he rides for, as good as Marc Marquez. So you sat at home thinking he's slow because he's finished last, but MotoGP's so close, so competitive. You've no idea how hard it is to be last. And I feel like we've got the perfect example here with Takahashi. He's turned up here, such a fast rider. If you're on a track day with Takahashi, you'd be like, what? This guy's amazing. And he's actually gone faster on his last lap. He's 5.4 seconds slower than Marco Bezzecchi. In fact, he's over a second slower than what Pedro Acosta was doing in Moto2. But that's how hard a MotoGP bike is to ride. They're not easy. People go, but there's huge electronics. They do everything. They don't wheelie, they don't spin. You just get on them to throw it around.
Not like that, is it?
Did you have more coffees at lunch? The similar ones that you had this morning on your Moto3 rant.
I do like an Italian cappuccino, I can't lie.
It's strong. This is too strong.
I've had 15.
Okay, session getting underway still as well. Luca Marini, he's 10th at the moment coming into the last corner. Is he going to go any faster then? Marini across it, 10th up to 5th, 132.293. Very good time then on the Mooney VR46 bike as well. So it's Marco Bezzecchi, 9,000ths of a second faster to Vinales. Then it's Martin ahead of Pirro, Marini, Bagnaia, Oliveira, Alex Marquez, Pedrosa and Binder. And just look at where Marc Marquez is. He is in 17th position. Now I'm saying that because that Honda is not good. You know me as 21st out of 24 riders at the moment. A lot of rumours going around the paddock at the moment that we're going to see Marc Marquez possibly on a Gresini bike as early as 2024. There's a few other reporters in the MotoGP world as well saying that they don't think anything's going to be announced till after the Japanese Grand Prix when Mark's had a chance to talk with Honda in Motegi. But personally, there's a lot of things bubbling this weekend. If I was Honda, if I was Marc Marquez, I'd want to respect them by talking to them at the Japanese Grand Prix and announcing that they are splitting then. But if I'm Ducati, I'd want to announce that Marc Marquez is coming to the team at a home race, which is here in San Marino. Because it is San Marino, but we're in Italy. This is in Rimini, in Italy. So if I was them, if I was Ducati, I'd want to announce it this weekend. If I was Honda and Mark, I'd want to wait until Motegi. But then again, it's the difficulties already. At least what I think should be announced this weekend is that Mark is going to be leaving. I think it has to be announced. It's been the worst kept secret in the paddock that he wants to leave. We knew it before the summer break. We knew he was going to end up on a Ducati. We thought it might be a Gresini because that's where Alex Marquez is and he's been giving him all the feedback, and that Gresini team could be big with Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez. Brothers back together as teammates. They had it once, of course, in 2020. Didn't work out that well because Mark got injured for a lot of the season. They've always wanted to ride together. Now they can ride together. I've got a feeling that could be quite a lineup once more. So we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot still up in the air at the moment. We'll throw it back over to TNT.
The MotoGP bike, or you ride your bike on a track day,
A
you got
lace
the
goes
adrenaline
up,
kicking in, and then it's like you do everything seems like sharper, and you think of everything really quickly, don't you, when you're on the bike, because all your senses are become like heightened, yeah, straight away. So yeah, you've got, that with the GP bike, the main thing is activating the rear height device. And but it's so good. You always think about it because you just want to press it as soon as possible. Turns the bike into an absolute. It's the fun button. Yeah, exactly.
It feels like a turbo.
Yeah.
Another question. You were Suzuki's test rider for a lot of years. You were involved when Joan Mir won the World Championship. So when you went testing, you'd be at a test at the same time as Joan Mir. And you saw what lap times he was doing. Obviously, you was privy to his data. I'm sure you sat down and looked at it. What was the difference in lap time between you and Mir?
About a second.
About a second?
Yeah, something like that.
Where was that second?
They normally it would be like just a little bit everywhere. Just everywhere. At Suzuki, so Johan and Alex were extremely talented at using the rear brake, which for me was not natural because I never really used it with the superbikes. And so I started to do it step by step, and you could tell that makes a difference, but it wasn't completely natural for me. So yeah, it was just a little bit everywhere. I mean, you got 15 corners, you lose half a tenth everywhere, and that's it.
I wonder, as we just went on board with Aleix Espargaro there, I wonder if that front, having to use the hard front tyre, pretty much everyone has gone that direction, having to use that hard front. I wonder how that is with Aleix. We know in terms of this kind of racetrack that he's talked a lot about the Aprilia not being their strong suit. I just wonder if that combination of the bike, hard front tyre, this racetrack might be why we've seen his pace a little bit down from where we might have expected Aleix to be.
Well, normally the Aprilia is quite good at running the hard front because they load the front a lot, and especially Aleix loads it a lot. But with the hard front, you lose a bit of edge grip. So, you know, if you don't feel confident with the tire and you lose a little bit that feel on the maximum leaning, or when you try to brake hard with lean, you can quickly be a little bit off. And maybe it seems that's what's happening with Aleix. I mean, he's only a second off the best lap time right now. He's increased his pace, but yeah, a little bit of feel goes away, and the lap times slips quickly.
Let's have a look from on board with Marc Marquez chasing Pecco Bagnaia here. Up to the last couple of corners. See what their times are across the line. So Bagnaia in front, so on 1:33.0, Marquez a 1:33.1. Not competitive in this session, but it just looked like every time Marc was making up time running into the corners. It's that dive almost, like point and squirt, but diving for the corner.
That's where he makes the time, yeah. That's where Marc is able to compensate. And when we've seen him this season, you know, doing some good times, following people around in qualifying, or, you know, trying to do like at the start of races, he can hang on doing this, basically just going into the corners really, really hard and try and physically override the bike for a bit, but that can't be done for the whole race. So this is this is riding style, you know, that's how he makes the lap time. But you can see he loses a lot of time in corner exit then, because obviously it's always a compromise, you know, you come in the corners a little bit too fast, and also, you know, this is the main complaint of the Honda riders, having rear grip in corner exit, getting the traction and trying to limit that rear wheel spin. That rear wheel is spinning all the time. Actually, it spins in a straight line as well. Even when you shift the shift shock from 5th to 6th,
still spins.
Yeah, it still spins a bit. Yeah, it always spins. So
I'd love to know at what point the ECU's allowing 100% power to the throttle. Normally depends on tracks, because you can also set it corner by corner. But normally from fourth gear, it's a 1-to-1. So you ask 100 and you get 100. But the first 3 gears are usually controlled. Sometimes the third you can, depending if the track is flat or if you're in a good position, you can, sometimes in third you can unleash it as well.
Pecco Bagnaia just did a 1:32.1. Marc Marquez's lap was cancelled for track limits, but he did do a 32.2, so it would have put him into 6th place in behind Bagnaia. Michele Pirro, meanwhile, has got up to 4th, and Jorge Martin, as we saw, taking over at the top of the timesheet. So 1:31.5. I think we might be about to see where the lap time's got away.
Yeah, here we go.
Easy.
Which actually is, it happens a lot. We see people almost, it opens up all that part of the racetrack, doesn't it, if you do that. So
I did my track guide yesterday with Sam Lowles, and he said You're not going to believe it, but he said last year, oh sorry, not last year, the year before, he said I went through Cavone, turn 11, absolutely flat out. He said I've only ever done it twice. I did not roll. He said I told my team, they didn't believe me, and they looked at the data and they couldn't believe that I'd done it. And he said I didn't go on the green. He said that took some doing.
Not going on the green certainly does. Marc Marquez then looking good. Alex Marquez goes up to 6th place. 1:32.135 on his Delta time. Maverick Vinales, 3rd fastest at the moment. Bagnaia is 7th fastest, so can still find a little bit of Delta time as well. Bagnaia, does he? 6th, 1:31.983. So there or thereabouts between it at the moment. You can see on the blog below us, not for the first time this season, Marc Marquez following Francesco Bagnaia, something he could be doing next season on Ducati machinery. Savage from Robert Jones there, Crash Net as well, who's on site. Could be the case if he goes to a Ducati team. I certainly would like to see it. It'd be quite funny, personally, having a Ducati run around. But Martin with a 1:31.562, all coming through. Lap time cancelled for Jack Miller for exceeding track limits. Danny Pedrosa set a quick middle sector, and sector 3 is only 9 thousandths off the pace. He comes across the line of the KTM, and he's fastest by 36 thousandths of a second. Danny Pedrosa, 1:31.526. Why isn't he back full time? I know he's the KTM test rider. I know he's responsible for so much of how the team's developed, along with Jack Miller and Brad Binder. But why isn't Danny Pedrosa back full time? That is the question I want answered sometime, because he is up there right now as he ever was. Jorge Martin crosses the line and does a 1:31.944, goes 2nd fastest. No more setting quicker deltas. Ralph Fernandez surprises everyone, goes from 18th to 6th place at the moment, but it's Danny Pedrosa currently fastest here in practice. Pedrosa looking on quite strong. 1:31.526. Martin, Bezzecchi, Vinales, Pirro, Ralph Fernandez, Bagnaia, Alex Marquez. Hey, Marc Marquez got up to 9th place. So thumbs up there for Marc. And for Fabio Quartararo into 10th position as well. Now, Quartararo has not managed to get through into Q2 for quite a while. He's struggled and he's always had to go through the first part of qualifying. So if he can get an automatic entry into Q2, that's going to be a mega impressive feat of engineering from him. And that bike, which isn't really the greatest at the moment, has been struggling quite a lot in terms of pace and performance. So watch out for Jack Miller. There is Pecco Bagnaia with the fans on him as well, back in the garage talking with his engineers. 32 minutes to go of this session, and it is very entertaining tops. Just take a look at where the wild cards are. That's Danny Pedrosa, fastest. Michele Pirro is 5th fastest in there too. Looking further down, Takashai in 24th, not counting on the times just yet, but he's getting slowly up to it all. But Pedrosa, fastest sectors 2 and 4. Bezzecchi, fastest sector 1. Vinales, fastest sector 3. So it's a Ducati sector 1, KTM sector 2, Aprilia sector 3, and KTM sector 4 on the times. Mighty good as everyone now starts to come back into the lane.
So it is a question, just whilst we're chatting about it, there's still half an hour in this session to go. Obviously, that is the rumour. Mark's potentially going to be on a Ducati. Sitting here as a commentator, you've been in this paddock for 25 years, Gav. Is it going to happen or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I can't believe I would even say. I would, even before the weekend, I wouldn't have been saying it. But the fact is, and if it doesn't, it's a contractual wrinkle they cannot iron out. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
There's something that we can't do. It works for him. It works for Grassini, really, let's face it. Honda have already said, we're not going to keep anyone who doesn't want to be here. And do you know who else it works for? The championship. I bet Dorna, I bet Carmelo Espeleta, I bet he's down there going, we'll sort you out, don't they? We'll sort you out, because it's for the championship.
Will they get more freight allowance?
You know, you might be able to...
Sylvain, you've been in this paddock for, well, longer than us all. I don't know, at 57 years old. What do you think? What do you think, Sylvain? Is it going to happen or not? With everything you've known.
I'll tell you what, before setting foot on the track this morning, I would have said that the tendency was no.
Yeah, which is exactly where I was.
And the more I speak with people, the more I can see this happening. Yeah, it would be. I mean, for the only thing is that for Honda losing Mark would be. I mean, that would be the bottom. That would be a blow, massive blow.
The talk at the moment, Speed Week said it. That's Gunther Wiesinger, who we've said before manages Stefan Bradl, seen a factory Honda contract as well, with Stefan in there, but also has a very big in with Red Bull. They basically supported the magazine and now online. He said that Mark would take Red Bull, Repsol and Estrella Galicia across with him. Not to take away necessarily the title sponsorship of the team, but would have those going along with him. But there's a clause the clause in the Honda contract is about going to another factory, and the point is that Gresini, it's not a satellite.
Yeah. No, fine. Oh, and sorry. So as you're waving goodbye as you leave, you go, okay, I'm taking all your money as well.
And probably my mechanics and everyone who wants to work for me. I mean...
But Sylvain, you came up with a very good quote when we were in the office.
Which one was that?
The one where you...
Oh, here he is. Which quote was of the many amazing quotes I've come out with?
The one about the swimming pool.
Oh, la piscine. So, the swimming pool one, yeah. Well,
that's French you were saying there, just to clarify.
It's a metaphor. So, is that an English word, metaphor?
It is.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Oui. So...
That's not.
It's a Scottish word. To touch the bottom, when you touch the bottom, which would be, Mark leaving, touching the bottom, it's the only way you can, find the bottom and push back to go back and breathe again.
You said it definitely much better in the office.
Brad Binder, and a sequence of laps here. Still in 11th, however, and there you can see the back of it.
Yeah, and if you want to know where he's on track, you can see that we've got this really good little gizmo in the corner. There you go. Really
That's a Rio
graphic.
Corner, turn 4.
Oh, he's gone deep.
He's going to pick it up.
He's in turn 3 though now, and it's saying turn 2.
Turn 2 it says, yeah, but that one's wrong.
Can you see the Fonzinietto helmet?
Yeah, okay, I've got you there.
At a glance.
Yeah. Yeah. My eyes closed as I said that. So it's Danny Pedrosa on top. Jorge Martin, to me, has a lot of echoes of Danny Pedrosa. There's something about him, and what I mean by that isn't the way the riding style or anything, it's the fact he's made of glass, which is a bit like Danny Pedrosa. And you wonder whether Jorge Martin's MotoGP title aspirations might always be linked to just not quite having the look with him at the right times. That's where it ends, because they're very different characters.
Very different characters. When you said that, I thought, I don't agree with you on that one, but then, you are so right. Yeah, you feel like if poor Jorge Martin had been in that second corner high side, he'd be having surgeries still.
Jorge Martin at the moment is on great form, and he can smell blood at the championship as well. He's obviously recovered a lot of points on Pecco with his podium in Barcelona.
But the fact we're here though, Sylvain, where Pecco knows every single inch of asphalt around this racetrack.
Last year, Martin in Misano didn't have a good race. Martin in Mugello last year didn't have a good race, and then this year he did a great race. He had a great weekend in Mugello. So I think it's a different Jorge Martin we got this year.
Yeah.
More speed, more experience, and he's hungry. He's hungry. And now he can smell blood. Pecco is hurt, and he's cut a lot of points in the championship. Was it now 50 points? So we've got a lot of races coming up now, and if you're in good form now, you could very quickly, that gap could shrink.
Yeah, this was the part of the year last year when it felt like Martin, it went away from him a little bit, wasn't it? He was 9th in the race here. He was battling with Bastianini for the possibility of the factory Ducati contract. I mean, 9th is his best result. He's had 3 races here in MotoGP. And 9th is best, so we'll see. It definitely looks like he's on it this weekend. Iglesias Spargaro being interviewed now by Antonio Jimenez.
I just love the Elvis mic. It just
Nice
reminds
mic.
me of a real old school mic.
Max Bygraves, it says. That sort of thing. That's one for the kids.
Wow,
Miller, meanwhile,
old-style
has gone up
mics.
into 8th place.
Or like a blankety blank. I can see him just walking around.
Terry Wogan.
Terry Wogan on blankety blank. There you go.
Old Terry Wogan.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you're sat at home.
Lily
Especially,
Savage
under the age of
instead.
40,
Lily
he's going,
Savage.
What are these two
Paul
old gippers on
O'Grady.
about?
What are you on about, guys? Can you
Yeah, sorry.
Everyone who's under 40 and not French. Because we...
There's a question for you, Sylvain. In France, did you get hello, hello?
Hello, hello.
No.
Stop
Did we?
now.
Oh dear.
We got Benny Hill though.
Did you?
I used to love watching Benny Hill. Yeah.
Oh, don't think that's too PC nowadays. No. Oh, no.
Brad Binder's just gone ahead of Jack Miller, so 8th and 9th now for the two factory KTM men. There was a rumour in the week, wasn't there, started by, we couldn't work out, Jack said yesterday, couldn't work out whether it's a Spanish or Italian website, but apparently he says, I'm going to double my salary and get 10 wildcards next year.
What?
So, he said, show me the money. But he was obviously joking about it. He said, not heard as much nonsense in my life that that's the situation. But it was being given a lot of credence, wasn't it? It was... sent around left, right and centre.
What, that Jack's going to be...
To allow Pedro Costa to ride, that KTM had offered him double his salary, but he'd let Pedro Costa ride and he'd get 10 wildcard appearances.
We've not heard that 10 wildcard. We've heard 6
don't know where 10's come
could
from.
be extended.
But that was a story that went round. I'm sure many people listening will have read that.
I missed that one.
I
exactly.
heard
But
about it slightly,
I'm saying
not
Jack
much.
didn't give it too much of a credence yesterday. And I actually think that's been a bit harsh on Jack in terms of...
Absolutely.
He's had a podium this year on that bike. There is Esteban Garcia. He's had a podium on that bike this year. He's had 2 sprint podiums. And if you speak to anyone at KTM, now, again, we've seen the way that's been in terms of their hiring and firing strategy over the last couple of years. But if you speak to anyone, they credit Jack a lot with their step forward this year from being able to challenge during qualifying to being able to then challenge in races.
For that, he's adjusting his front brake. That's always quite a good one to
Really
to
good
look
shot to
at. Yeah. That's front brake adjusting. He's adjusting it out there. It's obviously coming too close to the bar. I've just looked on Twitter. Who sent it?
Alex
Oh, it's
Page.
Alex Page. Good old Alex Page has just put Terry Wogan with his little microphone on blank to blank.
Very similar hair to you, Sylvain.
Good friend of mine is Alex.
We've actually lost our timing pages at the moment. They've all gone a bit funny. So while we try and get those back, we'll stay with the raw feed.
Danny Pedrosa then, fastest rider in this session. Soft rear tyre in and to the top, even
Wow, 131,
quicker. Already at the top,
453.
even quicker, 131.453 now. All-time lap record here from Pecco Bagnaia back in 2021, 131.065.
So apologies that we've lost timings for just a second. We're just reloading the page because it had an encoding overloaded. Back up and running now, look, see? Perfectly in sync. So, and it's restored our systems. Hey. So, lap time counter for the 36 as well, due to track limits coming in. No idea why it slowed it down so much. Never seen that happen before. But it is Danny Pedrosa who has gone back to being the fastest on a 1:31.453. He's a tenth quicker than Jorge Martin across the line, who does a 1:31.787. So he too goes down on the board. But Pedrosa looking mighty as ever, as consistent as ever. That's exactly what we want to see going forward. So definitely enjoying where this is coming from right now. And fingers crossed can be an interesting end to the session. Zarco's on his lap time cancelled due to track limit as well.
It's good to see. Before the weekend, Sylvain, you'll know this, you've ridden wildcard rides. Francesco Guidotti, pit buyer, come to Danny and say, this is the plan for this weekend, this is what you want to focus on. And we've heard it in the past from Michele Pirro, and it's, you're going to run this, so we don't have to try it. You're going to run these tyres, you're going to do it like this. What will be the words that have been said to Danny before the weekend?
I think for Danny it will be a bit different, because he does the testing that he does, during the testing days. So this is when Danny does his pure testing duties. But I think the wild cards that they're doing with Danny, they are, because he's got that edge and he's got that performance in him, they're running it as as a racing weekend. So
go out there and do what you need
I think
to.
so, yes, yeah.
You're not a mule over the weekend.
No, they'll be using the latest stuff. So he's running a carbon fiber chassis this weekend, and he'll be doing still some testing items like that, but he will be very much focused on the performance. I think his last test as well here was a couple of weeks ago, and was already he was practicing to race well, to be able to be competitive, but that's only because he can do it. He could bring a result in Jerez. He could have been on the podium. He could have won the race. And it's very much the same here. Danny's he's absolutely on it.
Always been a good starter as well,
really
hasn't he?
good
And if that KTM works for him down towards turn one, if he can get that qualifying right. I just want to give a medical update from the medical centre. I've just been sent, if you're watching Moto 2 earlier, Albert Arenas had a huge crash at turn 9, dislocated shoulder, unfit for the rest of the weekend. At this time of the year,
You were saying it, no, Neil, crossing the arms and bouncing like that. So he's obviously been bouncing on the shoulders.
Yeah.
And that's
Something has to give, doesn't it, in that situation? And
that's really sad for him, because
Really
that's an injury that takes a long
it takes
time
a
to
long
recover.
time, and it's the tendons and the ligament damage you get.
And he's at risk as well. So he needs to. That's really bad timing for
Well, I
him.
wish Albert to heal up soon. Maverick Vinales just went through on soft front, soft rear, up to 3rd place. Aleix Espargaro, hard front, soft rear. His combination that he's gone out on. So clearly liking the hard tyre. If this is a bit of a qualifying trim, if that makes sense.
Stability. There's some hard braking zones here. Turn 1, turn 3, turn 8, turn 14 as well. So you can make up a lot of time there. You just reduce the braking distance with that tyre, and if you're not too bothered by the edge grip, then there's no problem. The track now will be very hot. So
that's why I just wonder, because obviously Vinales is going soft front, soft rear, and Aleix very different up front though. So what will be the different feedback, or the different styles then, or different ways of using the tyres that mean they can go those different directions?
So with the soft, you basically get that feeling that the tyre is squishing a lot more in the upright position, when you brake straight like that. So you'd have less stability, a little bit more movement, and you would also have a little bit more edge grip. So coming in like trail braking with a lot of leaning, the soft will give you a little bit more feedback as well. So that's a rider's preference. With a soft front though, you in time attack mode, you wouldn't get many laps of very good performance, as in the hard would be a lot more stable.
Pecco Bagnaia gone out. He's not gone out. He's still out on hard front, medium rear, whereas Michele Pirro, go for it, son. And that's what I think we're getting here. Is Bagnaia almost dragging him round a little bit.
Run for it and see where you go. Aleix
improving as well. I mean, if you're going to get a good wheel, might as well get behind Pecco.
Down into La Quercia, the oak tree. Big hill on the left-hand side there. Great place for the fans to watch. Not only do you see La Quercia, you can see the final corner, you can see through Curvone. It's a really good spot to watch from here in Misano. Aleix Espargaro down in 23rd in this session, only Takahashi behind him. I will say he's only 1.2 off Jorge Martin at the top.
He doesn't really like that track though, Aleix.
No,
he's never
team inside the 10. There you can see 19 riders within a second on the left-hand side of your screens.
And there's Raul Fernandez again, like this morning, P6 at the moment, looking good. That's the first time we see Raul doing so well. So yeah, he's obviously found something.
Bagnaia goes 4th. 1:31.663. Currently 19 riders, all within a second of each other at the moment. Jorge Martin, 37,000th of a second faster than Dani Pedrosa. So it is the Prima Pramac who has topped the session. Now let's take a look at the 1-2 chicane. This is with Bagnaia hitting the front brake, where the bike steps up, gets it back down, turns it in, swoops it back over, right hand turn 1, left hand into turn 2, and really swoops it back around as they come through the back half of the sector as well. The circuit does look like a J. I don't know if you've seen any of it. It does look it's just a, how do you do it on here? Just a J. No, it doesn't look J. Yeah, looks like a J. I've got to do a reverse J. It's quite hard to see it on the TV picture, isn't it? To come through, because I'm looking at the camera the wrong way round compared to what you're seeing me as, because that's that. Whereas, I suppose I could do it like that. J. There you go. Valentino Rossi, MotoGP legend, 9-time a world champion. 2 in the junior class, 7-time champion in the Premier class. Watching on his home race, of course, this weekend. He was at Austria a couple of races ago, cheering on his brother. Definitely one to watch. Luca Marini this weekend. Always a star makeup. As there's Aleix Espargaro, 8th fastest at the moment. 1:31.864. And the top 10 doesn't click one of our. Look at Bagnaia getting off the bike extremely gingerly and limping away as well. To be anywhere near the top, he's in top 4 as well. It's just so impressive after a monster high side last time out at the Catalan Grand Prix. Lap time cancel for the 21 and exceeding track limits. That's Franco Morbidelli, who's dropped down into 20th place. We're getting set then for the benchmarker times to come through shortly. We'll send it back to TNT.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a bit swollen and sore. So yeah, ice is always a really good treatment. One of the best actually, especially for bruising and swelling.
Here he is. You said that like as if to go.
That's a revelation.
Yeah, you said that like it was a revelation. No, you'd be surprised because ice is really good.
I'm saying that because everybody thinks like that these guys are, we use like different.
Okay,
like,
fair enough.
Top of the range medical treatment and all
Fair
that.
enough. Sorry.
When really, most of the time,
the best thing to do is
peas, frozen peas. Can't beat it.
And you can eat them afterwards.
Off your leg.
No, you can actually put them back in the freezer and reuse them as well.
So don't eat them afterwards.
Remind me, I'm not coming to your house.
Can you not do that with peas? I thought you could do that.
I don't know.
Yeah, you can do. If you're not going to eat them, I think it'd be fine.
No, well, we're talking about eating them as well.
All right, okay.
And that's the insight you get here if you tune in and listen to. But I love that. That was funny the way it went. No, but ice is really good for swelling. Yeah.
Hey, so question, Neil. We're talking about Valentino, missing racing.
Yeah.
Do you miss racing?
Not one bit. Not at all.
You never think about it?
No, not genuinely, not at all. And I know I've had people on social media say, "Oh, you sound jealous" or "You sound bitter." I've heard people say all sorts of things like that over the years. I genuinely mean I do not miss it at all. But it's been a while now. I've been retired for 13 years.
Yeah.
No, but I think if
Did you miss it for a while?
No, not really. No, I miss the routine of it.
Yeah.
When that goes, because obviously it's like doing this job. It's you're away every weekend. You know what you're doing. Your years planned out.
And you wake up thinking about
racing.
How can I be a better racer?
Yeah.
So it's a way of life.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's a full-time job, night and day, 24/7. Jack Miller improves the gain in 9th place, half a second off. It's going to be so bunched up tight by the end of this session. You get that feeling.
Well, these are the time attacks now. Some of these ones, aren't they? Like
Yellow sector 1. Yellow sector 1.
Soft rear.
Oh, it's Jack Miller's gone down. Miller's crashed down in the first corner, and that's a big one. The bike's smoking as well. He's up, walking away. Bike's gone, I'm afraid. So Jack Miller, who's in 9th place, crashed at turn 3. So it's after the chicane. He's going to loop back around towards 4. And that is not a nice place to go down. So there's going to be a few riders affected by that yellow flag. Brad Binder, his teammate, 14th at the moment, might just get through here. Look at the delta times as well. There's some real big improvements coming, some massive sector times. Pedrosa fastest sectors 1 and 2. Brad Binder fastest sectors 1 and 2 and 3. As he comes across the line, Binder goes up from 14th to 3rd. 95 thousandths off the pace of Jorge Martin. Danny Pedrosa's backed off along the last sector. Bezzecchi, who is 6th fastest, is finding some time now. Out of the last corner. Is Marco Bezzecchi going to improve? Lap time cancelled for the 30 for exceeding track limits. Across the line, Marco Bezzecchi touches the green slightly. I wonder if that might get a lap time deletion. Goes top, 1:31.388, 28 thousandths faster than Jorge Martin. Pedrosa third, 1:31.567, being followed by his old teammate Marc Marquez. Lap time cancelled for the 37 exceeding track limits.
At some point over the weekend.
That's right.
So it could be tomorrow morning if he were to get within that 105. Within 105 of that session in particular.
So this is turn 2. Watch this.
And
Into
watch the
3.
front now.
Oh, that's a big old bump. Good shout, Silver.
Really well called.
It's like you've ridden around this place
Yeah,
recently.
it's almost like you was here 2 weeks ago, and you know exactly. Have you crashed there?
Wait a second.
Have you crashed there?
You weren't picking a bike up there, were you?
Actually, I nearly crashed.
Maverick Vinales on a great lap halfway round. Jack Miller has to count to 10. He needs to get through this weekend unscathed. Got a big day when he gets back to Oz. I think it's on Wednesday, where his wife is set to...
That's a good technique.
Set to give birth. So a shake of the head from Jack. Our very best to
that was fast crash.
Ruby down under.
Fast crash. He was lucky to just slide nicely.
This is going to be the fastest ever lap of Misano here, and it's Maverick Vinales who's...
Yeah, Vinales across the line and does a 1:39.72. Brilliant lap time from him. 4.5 tenths faster than Marco Bezzecchi, and he has absolutely blown it away. Aprilia, like they did in Austria, coming back into the mix. And how close was Vinales to a race win until he got taken away from him by Aleix Espargaro? Marco Bezzecchi does a 1:31.431. Good lap time from him, and that puts him in second position. Lap time cancelled for the 41 for exceeding track limits. A great session so far.
In Barcelona.
We were talking at lunchtime. Actually came in, didn't he? And you had a chat with him. What was interesting is we were saying he loves this track. Like, this is the Maverick Vinales track. He won his last win here on the Yamaha in was it 21 or 20?
It was 2020, yeah. It was the second race, the Emilia Romagna one that we had. It's confusing because we had 4 races in 2 years then, didn't we? In 2020 and then in 2021.
What is it with the stat, Gav? Can he become the first to win on 3 different manufacturers?
Yes.
Is that
Him and
what's
Jack
at stake?
Him and Jack
And
have
Jack,
it at
yes.
stake at the moment.
Pretty cool if that happens.
They're winning for Suzuki in Silverstone.
Yeah.
And then Yamaha
What a day that was.
multiple times. Yeah, that
Great
was
race, wasn't it?
I mean, that is some lap time. A 1:30.
Everyone will come back in and say, you what? It's who's done what? Where? Aleix Espargaro up into 7th place.
1:31.6. Wow.
Raul Fernandez being called back in to have another go at it.
Boro Takahashi will come in and he'll think, well, I made some steps then. It's like, what, they don't do in 30s?
I didn't sign up for this.
Cut me some slack.
Takashi's not going to be able to race at this point.
Jack Miller back out onto the racetrack as Raul Fernandez comes back down the pits. We're riding on board with Jorge Martin, displaced from top spot by Bezzecchi and Vinales. Oh, right to the edge of the racetrack there for Martin, high up on the curbs, and it went away from him.
And the KTM's looking all right with Pedrosa Binder and Paul Espargaro with gas. That's a
Paul's
good effort.
always great for a whole breath lap, isn't he? And up to 6th place from Paul. Fabio Quartararo in 8th. Remember, it's the times in this session alone that decide the top 10 who will go through to Q2. As it stands, Pecco Bagnaia is on the bubble, down in 10th place. Michele Pirro's not guaranteed through in the top 10. Now that things are starting to motor in this session, Pirro has to find a little bit of something.
And I was just thinking, is that the bike that Alvaro Bautista will be riding then? I assume so.
I guess so.
Yeah. And has it been confirmed he's just doing one wild card?
Well, as things stand,
For
but
now, yes.
I suppose with Enea Bastianini sat on the sidelines, there'll be people at Ducati going, you sure you don't want to do more? And Michele Pirro up to 11th, just misses out on the 10, 6.5 minutes remaining. Danny Pedrosa back out onto the racetrack. Marc Marquez heading out there too, as is Stefan Bradl. We haven't had a look at that Honda yet, have we? Want to go down
We didn't
and
get
have
a
look.
close look, but we know he's got a different chassis, different exhaust system, and a different.
There we are.
rear, what do you call it?
The mass damper sort of.
Yeah,
the
it
box.
looks like, yeah. Well, I mean, it could be as well that they're just moving weight at the back and a bit lower, so it could be moving like electronics. That can make quite a big difference in weight, playing around, placing the weight differently on the bike. But it could be a mass damper as well, just like the Ducati has. That's to take the chatter away.
So,
where are we at with HRC and Calyx? Because that's sort of gone quiet, hasn't it? All the discussions that's
gone quiet.
That.
The chassis went around, and some of them got destroyed as well in some big crashes. But we've not heard much more about it.
Jorge Martin back out onto the pitch. You rejoin the track here through turn 3.
weird re-entry point on this track though, but
it's going to take some beating. Maverick Vinales lap time,
I'm not
4
sure.
times faster than everybody else. That is a big margin.
I'm not sure whether anyone can do that really.
we'll
Did you see
see.
perhaps
Jorge
doing it?
Martin.
Martin perhaps.
But actually, recently he's not been
Pedrosa.
putting in the. He's not quite at the one lap pace we've seen him have previously.
Yeah, he was 5th on the grid in Barcelona, but 12th in Austria, 7th at Silverstone, 10th in Assen. In fact, he hasn't been on the front row since Jerez. Only had 2 front rows this year. Surprise, isn't it, for someone like Martin, who was always seen as a proper pole hound?
He did say in an interview recently that he doesn't know what's happened with his one lap pace. He's confused. He's as confused as anything else.
Sometimes
anyone else.
you work at a setup that works for you as well and works well for the race, but it compromises a little bit the edge that you can have during the qualifying, and sometimes you drift a little bit with the setup and you feel more comfortable during the races. But yeah, you can.
Bikes are up then on their warm-ups. 4 minutes to go in this practice. Who's going to set the fastest Delta times?
It's funny. Marc Marquez has got the wheel of his old teammate and good friend. I think they got on quite well.
Yeah,
Danny
they
Pedrosa.
did get on fairly well. Yeah, they did. There were times when it got a little bit testy in there, of course. Teammates, and one of them was having all the success, but Takumi Takahashi is in front on track, and I think he's just going to hold them both up a little bit.
He will have had such a day. It's the worst feeling when you're off the pace, getting passed by so many riders. It scares you, doesn't it?
Scared me then watching that,
Yeah.
just where they were going to try and get
Because of the
past him
speed
there.
difference.
Yeah.
They're all getting out of the way, but this is very much the bank at lap times that we're witnessing right now. No one's going to set the overall improvements. Oh, crasher! Someone's gone down. Now is that Takashi as well, who's gone down at the back? Well, someone's crashed in the tyre runners. It's Raul Fernandez. Okay, so it was Raul Fernandez who went down, turned it in, the front bike dipped away from him. He's got going again. Into turn 1 then. Danny Pedrosa, 4th position. Oh, and there's now a crasher at turn, there's another crasher. Yellow flag out sector 4 again. So that's at turn 14, 15. It's Pol Espargaro, and he's into the gravel. Pol Espargaro has gone into the gravel, and his airbag's gone off, just checking his shoulders are okay. But they've got to retrieve that bike quick, because there's going to be some very fast riders coming through on lap times that they do not want to have taken away from them. 2:30 to go as they come through. Red sector times are up there. Bagnaia improves up into 6th position. Jorge Martin looking faster as well. Lap time cancel for Martin for exceeding the track limits. So Martin's time not going to count as he does a 1:31.153. It doesn't count. Yellow flag where he is taken back in. Pedrosa coming up with Marc Marquez. Alex Marquez now lap time deleted, as is Bagnaia's down to 10th. Bagnaia's lap time deleted by the steward. So's Jorge Martins. That's all due to the yellow flag. And the 33 coming in now as well. That's Brad Binder. So we are getting those lap times cancelled for causing yellow flags. That's not the way they want to see this happen. It's not the way they want to do it as they come through, as they exit the last corner. Right. Pedrosa is estimated to go up into 2nd position. Will he actually do so? Is Marc Marquez going to get the toe? Right now he's 15th and not in qualifying 2 contention. Across the line, Pedrosa goes 2nd, Marquez goes 3rd. The old teammates are taking each other round. Pedrosa out there as well. It's a 1:31.1. Still a 10th and a half off of what Maverick Vinales has done, but well done to Danny Pedrosa on that test bike. Now, yellow flag's out again in Sector 4. Oh, it's a big one. It's an Aprilia and it's Aleix Espargaro, who is on his knees and hands in the gravel trap. It's a huge accident. And he looks, I hope, to be okay. He looks slightly winded in the gravel trap. But the bike, front end of it's come off a bit as well. So we'll take a look. He did look winded as they come through. Bagnaia across the line. This probably get deleted because of track limits. And it's a 1:31.349. Why is Oliveira so slow compared to the other Aprilias as Aleix Espargaro walks away? Looks to be okay. Not too sure what the difference is, because if you remember last weekend in Austria, he was really fast. Lap time cancelled for Bagnaia due to the yellow flags. That's put Bagnaia into 14th place. He's not in the qualifying format at the moment. Lap time cancelled for Zarco for a shortcut as well. Aleix Espargaro's walked away. He's okay. Bike just being recovered now. Mia has exceeded the track limits. Let's take a look what happened to Aleix Espargaro. So it's coming into turn 15. It's a left-hander. The front tipped away from him. He's gone into the gravel trap. Not a nice crash there. I'm glad he's got up away from okay. If you look at Oliveira's 22nd, don't know why he's so slow. He was up there last time out, wasn't he? At the Catalan Grand Prix in the top 3. You topped practice 2. Don't know what's changed there. Checker flag is out. Pedrosa has stayed 3rd fastest. So Pedrosa stays up there with the time. So does Marc Marquez. So does Alex Marquez. They're 3-4-5. Aleix Espargaro and Pol Espargaro, 9th and 10th, into the pit lane. Stefan Bradl 14th. Maverick Vinales stays top. Micah Bezzecchi might go faster here and does. It's a 1:38.46, a tenth and a half quicker than Maverick Vinales. The new lap record belongs to Bezzecchi. What can Bagnaia do? He's 12th at the moment, having to go through qualifying 1 across the line. Bagnaia goes 5th. So that kicks out Aleix Espargaro. Aleix will have to go through Q1 after crashing. Luca Marini goes into 5th, gets inside the top 10. So that's both Paul and Aleix having to go through. Quadraro and Morbidelli having to go through as well. And if you take a look at the full battle screen, we are not seeing anybody else improving on their overall lap times. Nobody else is jumping up on the timing screens. So Raul Fernandez goes through. That's a shocker, in my opinion, on the Aprilia, the teammate to Miguel Oliveira on the Crypto Data RNF squad. But lap time cancel for the 30th from Team Challenge. That's Takiki Nakagami to come through. But it is Marco Bezzecchi, Maverick Vinales and Danny Pedrosa. They are 1, 2, 3 here in the practice that counts to set the running order for Q1 and Q2. And Marc Marquez goes through as well. So interesting top 10. Again, Quartararo 13th, Morbidelli 14th, Aleix Espargaro having to go through. There is and Michele Pirro didn't make it. Jack Miller didn't make it. Q1 tomorrow morning looks extremely good. And it's going to be very close. Marc Marquez joking around with Danny Pedrosa there as they stop to do the practice start. But there is seriously a lot of pressure riding on qualifying 1 tomorrow with some big names going through. New all-time lap record, 1:30.846 for Marco Bezzecchi, faster than Pecco Bagnaia. Remarkable time, remarkable weekend shaping up here in San Marino. Well, at Mazzano, really, isn't it? Because it's the San Marino Grand Prix, but we're in Italy, in Rimini, heart of Valentino Rossi country. And it's a Mooney VR46 bike that tops the session and tops Friday here at the Mazzano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli. Danny Pedrosa getting a lot of congratulations from the KTM team. He's gone through, but just taking a look at the KTMs, Brad Binder's gone through in 9th. Look at Jack Miller. Jack Miller didn't make it through. He was 19th fastest. 17th fastest, sorry, the times have adjusted themselves now. So 17th fastest for Jack Miller, whereas Binder was 19th and Danny Pedrosa's just outridden both the main riders. And he's a wild card. Why is Pedrosa not on this bike full time? They would be cruising to race wins. Cruising. Really strange. Lap record then for Bagnaia, as you see. A good session. Bagnaia goes through. Bezzecchi, a lap record, sorry. Bagnaia on my screen now, having a good run. So your top 10 going through to qualifying: Marco Bezzecchi, Maverick Vinales, Danny Pedrosa, Jorge Martin, Luca Marini, followed by Marc Marquez, Pecco Bagnaia, Alex Marquez, Brad Binder and Raul Fernandez. They're the 10 going through. Having to go through Q1 is Polo Spargaro, Alicia Spargaro, Fabio Quartararo, Franco Morbidelli, Stefan Bradl, Michele Pirro. Then it's going in there with Jack Miller, Johan Zarco, Fabio Di Giannantonio, Takiki Nakagami, Johan Mir, Miguel Oliveira, Augusto Fernandez, and Takumi Takashai, who is 24th, having to go through. Mooney VR46 celebrate. They like what they've seen here today. A lap record here at Mazzano. Aprilia looking strong, Mooney VR46 looking strong. Bagnaia, only factory Ducati, off the pace a little, but he's injured, so that's to be expected. Remarkably good session. So we'll be back later on today with IndyCar, their first practice from Laguna Seca. IndyCar Radio talking through. Polo Spargaro stopped on the side of the track actually to come through. So is Takumi Takashai actually going to do the race? Yes, he is. He's replacing Alex Rins. He will do the race. But he's got to qualify first and get within the timings. Right now he hasn't done that. So he's got a lot of work to do tomorrow. And this one to Polo Spargaro. Oh, nasty. He lost the front. This is turn 15. He lost the front. His foot caught against the ground and pulled his ankle back. Ran over his own ankle and it flipped him down. That's a nasty one for Polo Spargaro. And it's damaged his shoulder. That's where he's early crashed. Both of the Espargaro brothers crashing out. So yes, later on we've got IndyCar first practice coming up from Laguna Seca. Tomorrow we've got all the action for MotoGP practice 2 and a qualifying, followed then by the Moto E race and the Tissot sprint. Then we've got practice 2 for IndyCar and qualifying before on Sunday we've got Moto 3, Moto 2 and MotoGP's main race, then followed by the warm-up for IndyCar and the final race as well of the IndyCar season coming through. Looking strong then, it is Marco Bezzecchi, the fastest at the moment here on Friday. We'll see you tomorrow for all the action from MotoGP. Thanks for your company. Take care. Bye-bye.